Three, two, one. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Get Uncomfortable. I'm your host, Shay from Enlightened Athlete. We have been gone. I have been gone. I took a break. I needed to take a break for a lot of reasons, and it was very nice to take the break. It was unannounced. It was unexpected, but it was necessary. It just did not feel right. The timing did not feel right to continue the show in the manner that I was doing it. For the reasons I was doing it. I burnt out a little bit on it, and it felt like I was kind of bashing my head against a wall in order to get the show out, to come up with content, to come up with ideas. It just didn't feel like the right time. And I know that in my heart. I know that it wasn't the right time, but we're back. And I feel a little bit more prepared and centered to do this show. If you heard in the beginning, we have a new intro as well, aimed at helping you guys, helping my audience, helping my community, build a community in your own life, helping you guys understand and recognize the power that you have to intentionally create your life and how much that can move you along the path in the right direction. And I lost sight of that for a little bit for the sake of downloads, for the sake of hitting this milestone, for the sake of doing this many shows a week. That's not the point. The point is to help people live a better life. And that's why I took the break. And there were some things that I had to make decisions on my end, that the decisions have been made. They were hard decisions to make, and those are done now, which is good. Not done. The decisions have been made. That's what I'll say. And I'll probably let on a little bit more to that as we get closer to the time. But for now, I think I'm ready to get back at it. I hope you guys are ready to listen again. I hope everybody's still there. I don't know if anybody is even going to hear this. I think the last episode I put out was April 11th. So today is Monday, the 22nd of May. So we took a good break, took some time off, but I feel like this is a good one. And in line with the new intro and talking about building a community that can rise together, I think for the first one back, that's kind of what I wanted to touch on, was how you can build a community in your own life, in your own local area, you know. And the internet is very helpful with this as well, but just some things that I've seen, and I can speak on this, I feel, because I have built a community. I've built a community of people who are ready to get better, who want to improve their life, who want to improve their physical health, their mental health, their spiritual health. They're on the path to leveling up. They're on the path to living a better life, to not just chasing happiness, but finding fulfillment, becoming self-actualized, and recognizing that they have the power to do that. And I think a lot of people feel isolated and alone and like they can't change their situation, they can't change the things that they're doing, especially after COVID. The fear and the isolation and the lockdowns and working from home, you know, you're not supposed to be alone that long. It's not good for people to be left alone for so long. I always say, what is the worst thing you can do to somebody who's already in prison? Solitary confinement, right? You take them from the group of people, other human beings, and you isolate them alone. That's the punishment for people who are already being punished. Now, are there times and places to be alone, to find solitude, to find stillness, to find peace? Absolutely. But can you live your life like that perpetually? Not a chance. Not good. So what I wanted to talk about on the first one back was like building a community and how important that is. You have to find your people, right? You have to find a tribe. You have to find people that are going to hold you accountable, hold you to a higher standard than the general population is holding themselves to. Because if you look around, clearly in America, people are not held to a very high standard. Nobody is saying, hey, I'm going to call you out on your bullshit in a loving way so you don't fall down this path, so you don't go down the slippery slope of being apathetic and being a victim and being weak and overweight and a liability to the people around you. That's obviously not common practice, but it is if you look in the right spots. So if you go around the country and you look at people inside of a gym, that's a community. If you look at people inside of a jiu-jitsu gym specifically, that is a community. Those people are going in and working really, really hard on something and feeling really, really good about it, getting better. And then you'll see they talk. They're friends. They go to each other's kids' birthday parties. They hang out. They do events together outside of the jiu-jitsu gym. And I see this with like CrossFit gyms. I see this with all sorts of things. Spiritual communities, they do the same thing. Churches will do this. You find these communities, these little pockets that are like a microcosm of peace and love and support and guidance and accountability in their life. And it's really important that we find that or build that, right? If you can't find it, you can build it, because I didn't find it here where I live, but I was able to create it. And some of the steps that I took is what I'm going to talk about today in order to build that. It starts with you. That's the first step. It starts with you. If you can't, even if there is a community and you don't know about it, it's because you're not doing the thing, right? The first thing is to get yourself straight, to get your mind right, to be clear, to have the right intentions for why you're doing what you're doing, not for the wrong reasons, not because somebody else said you should, not because you think you should go get a lot of money and join this mastermind. Like, make sure you know clearly what your intentions are with your life. And it starts with you. If you want to have a group of friends that's going to hold you accountable on the days you feel like shit, the days you feel like you don't want to do anything, you're going to skip the workout, you're going to skip the run, you're going to skip the meditation, and you want to have a group of people that are going to hold you accountable, you first have to hold yourself accountable. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard initially, and then that attracts the right people into your life. This is kind of a woo-woo thing people talk about, but the law of attraction is real. If you can sit and visualize and meditate and really see and feel the life that you want, if you pause this podcast and take 10 to 15 minutes and do some deep breathing and truly visualize the life you want to have, and if you do that once or twice a day for the next 60 days, some of those things are going to come true. It's called the reticular activating system. Your brain starts to notice the things that you focus on all the time. If you think about getting a white truck, what are you going to see everywhere? A white truck. You're going to see white trucks all over the place. But, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. You start to see that and you start to focus on it. So if you're tuning your mind to the life that you want and the person you want to become, that will start to come into your life. So it starts with yourself. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard first, and then the people that are interested in getting better, doing better, and being held accountable will come into your life. I have days where I don't want to work out. I have days where I don't want to do lots of shit. But the community that I've built around me now do not let me slip, because it's planned. Hey, we're going to work out or we're going to run at this time. Are we going? You get the text. Are we going? You're like, yes. Yeah, we're going. We're going. So they're there to help support you in your journey. And when you start to hold yourself to that higher standard, you can then, I don't even know if you want to think about it like this. I don't like to think about it like this. Be a model for the people around you, and they will do the same for you. So it's a two-way street, really. And you got to find that group of people. You got to find that group of people. And initially, sometimes it might be on the internet. Maybe it is through a podcast that you listen to. Maybe it is through a book that you've read and you get some sort of forum or message board, and you start to connect with those people, even if they're not in your local town. But then you start to find meetups, and you travel to go to the meetup, and you meet those people and see what they're doing. And then you're hanging out there. Like, the best way is to join an existing community. That's going to be the easiest thing for sure. And you can see if that community like vibes with you, if you feel good energy, if you feel like these people are kind of meshing with you and they have the same value structure that you do and appreciate and find important the things that you find important, that's going to be a good fit for you, right? But try it out. Maybe it's like literally in the beginning, if you can't find one, if there isn't a lot of existing communities like that, you get together with a group of friends who you know want to be better, and you say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get together every Saturday, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z, whatever those things are. We're going to do jiu-jitsu for an hour. We're going to practice it. We're going to meditate for 30 minutes, and then we're going to talk about our goals, our challenges, our setbacks. We're going to go on a run. We're going to work out. We're going to cook, prep meals for the week for our family. You get together and you do that, and you hold each other accountable. You hold each other to a higher standard than the rest of the community is. Because it's really easy to look around and see all the negativity. It's really easy to look around and see all the doom and gloom. There's like this, I don't even know what it is. It's this despair in the air, right? The dollar is failing. The housing market's going to crash. The government is letting in everybody through the southern border. COVID's still going to kill everybody. Like, it's just all despair. It's all doom and gloom. But when I go outside, right now, if I was to go outside and look, the sun is shining, the trees are green, the birds are chirping, it feels really nice outside, nothing's on fire, and everybody's just going about their day. So in my microcosm, things are good, right? Are there problems? Yes. Will there always be problems? Yes. But that is part of it. There's a guy I've talked about on here before. His name is Ram Dass. He, from his guru that he found in India, and I know that's a loaded word as well, but just hang with me here. He was talking about all the suffering that was going on. It's like in India, a lot of people, it's a third world country. A lot of people have very sparse amounts of food. They have no shelter. They have a hard time finding clean drinking water. And he's like, how do I sit here and say, like, I'm working on myself, I'm able to travel here, the life I have in America, while all this suffering is going on? And he said, can't you see it's all perfect? Can't you see it's all as it should be right now? And that's a hard one to grasp, because the human heart that we have wants to take away suffering, right? But suffering is a necessary part of the path of life. Life is suffering. That's like the first of the 4 noble truths from Buddha. Life is suffering. That's like just a fact of life. So there will always be problems, but those problems, I believe, serve a purpose. We can't get rid of all the problems, but what we can do is in our daily lives, can we try to mitigate suffering and not create more of it, is really what it is. Try not to create more suffering. And this is the part of the community that I like so much. You get a group of friends together, you guys start doing the thing that's going to improve your lives, help you overcome obstacles and setbacks and challenges, and turn those into opportunities in your life. You are coming together as a group of like-minded people in order to improve the lives of that community. And eventually that will branch out. Other people will see that. It will grow. Now, it's not the goal that it has to grow to be this big thing. It's for you, and it's for the people that you're doing this with. And that is a way to not create more suffering and separateness in this life. And I think that's a very noble goal, a very noble path to be on. And another thing that Ram Dass says is the only thing that you can do for someone else is to work on yourself. The only thing you can do for other people is to work on yourself. And that comes back to getting yourself straight, getting your mind right. It's like in an airplane, they tell you before you put on the oxygen mask of somebody else, put on yours first. So you can help yourself and then you can help others. If you're passed out, you can't help anybody else. That's kind of the same philosophy. So finding that group of people, finding that tribe, things that you're interested in, and maybe it is, like I said, messages, forums, on the internet, podcasts, books, but then you start to find meetups, and you start to meet those people in real life. And then you start talking about what you like to do, you start visualizing it, you start seeing it, you start living it, and then the right people will show up at the right time. That is something that has happened in my life over and over and over again, and there is no science to back this up, there's no process, there's no like hard proof that you can point to and say this is the step-by-step process, but that shit keeps happening to me, and it is strange how often it does when you are open to it. The right people will show up when you need them, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a friend, whether it's your future spouse, whether it's kids come into your life, even if it's unexpected. You know, my kids have taught me so much about myself and my life and the purpose that I think I want to have, and it's changed everything for me, and it was totally unexpected. The lessons that I've learned from my kids, what they have taught me, was totally unexpected, and I'm extremely grateful for it. So you never know when that right next thing is going to come into your life. So be open to it and be prepared. And one way to do that, this is kind of the next step, is to get quiet with yourself. Do some meditating, do some breath work, take some time to stop and think and enjoy your life. And a lot of times when you do that and you let off the gas a little bit and let off the grind, and I'm assuming the people that listen to this show are somewhat like me and like to work hard, like to grind, like to push it, like to see how much they can get done. And you can only do that for so long, right? If there was an eternal summer, if there was never seasons, if things had never changed, if it was eternal summer, the entire earth would be scorched. Nothing would survive, right? You can't have eternal summer. There has to be fluctuations in the temperature. There has to be shortening of the days. Things have to change. And what I was doing for the last 6, 7, 8, 10 years, basically, was I was in the summer season. I was working with no reprieve. I was never taking a break. I was never enjoying my life. And that will scorch you. That will burn you. So you have to take some time to get quiet. And it's not like you have to stop everything. Like I stopped the podcast, but we're back at it now. And I took time off and recentered, and I got quiet. I did a lot of meditating. I did a lot of visualization. Did a lot of thinking, a lot of walking on my own, a lot of getting in nature. And you have to do that, I think. I mean, this is my experience anyway. And that's when the ideas will come to you. That's when the thoughts, the new direction you want to go, the new idea, the creativity will come back to you when you make space for it. It's like, finally, some room for me to come in and give you some ideas and ruminate on that. It's pretty cool. So get quiet and meditate, visualize, know the person you want to become, and then start to live that life, and then those people will show up around you. Like, we're planning on moving in the fall, most likely, and it's like, okay, so I'm going to leave the community behind that I have here. And recently, some of the members of the community have moved away, and that's okay. That's how it goes. But I'm thinking, what I have the opportunity to intentionally build a new one where we go, and how am I going to do that? What do I want that to look like? And obviously for me, the first one is like, I'm going to join a jiu-jitsu gym, right? Like, that's an existing community of people who are willing to work hard, who want to get better, and generally who are thoughtful, nice, humble people. Those are things that line up with what I would like to have in my life. And that's a great way to meet interesting people. That's a great way to meet nice people. That's how you can start to make connections. So if you're struggling, look for things like that. Look for areas. Maybe it's some sort of an art meetup, right? You have artists that get together and do art, right? Make crafts, paint, do pottery, sing, Maybe it's a religious group where you want to go find people who meditate, people who do chants, people who are praying together. It's a Bible study here in the Midwest. That's probably what it is. And you get together with those people and you see if it's a good fit. But it is extremely important to find that community so you guys can rise together. And that's why I wanted to change the intro. And that's kind of the purpose moving forward with this show now. I'm going to try to keep in mind that that's the goal. And maybe the podcast can serve some of you in that way as well, and serve as a little online community to inspire you to go out and get a farm and homeschool your kids potentially and like live your life with your family, right? And learn how to run a good, tight ship. Keep the house clean, keep the house in order, and live in love in your family. I think that's pretty good. That's where my head's at. That's where I'm heading. That's what I would like to see my life become. There's a little insight into what I want to have happen for my family. And maybe this can serve you guys in that way as well, as just a little dose of inspiration. So I'd like to say thank you for sticking around if you're still here and you have listened to the show since we haven't put one out for a while. And if you're still listening to this episode, thank you very much. I don't know exactly what my new recording schedule or upload schedule is going to be like yet. I don't know what that's going to look like, but it will be more frequent than it has over the last, month and a half. It'll be a little bit more frequent than that, but we're kind of heading in that direction where I hope I can help people build a community in wherever they are, wherever you are. This is for you. I'm talking to you. Wherever you are, help you build a community that way that reflects the life that you want to have. So I just sincerely want to say thank you, and we will be talking to you soon. Until next time, go get uncomfortable.